Hello everyone. So today we are going to talk about this is mostly for the architecture portion, right? What are the best practices for architecturing with the cloud? Now we often have issues, right? Whenever we develop any application, we always have issues about how to handle the number of load, how to process is faster, how to perform some intelligence, right? How to implement all that, how to deploy the enterprise class application from as compared to the fixed physical environment to a virtualized cloud environment. So there are a lot of questions that we always have to discuss and like think that whether it is doable to jump into the some area where you can achieve the flexibility or and not worry about the infrastructure at all. How do you architect your application such a way that it can produce the expected results according to your requirement without you buying uh, keep buying data centers and keep scaling up through the virtualization, right? So as a cloud architect, it is very important for you to understand what are the benefits of using cloud computing, right? So normally, with the biggest benefit of cloud computing is $0 infrastructure cost. What does that mean? Whenever you say a $0, that means you don't have to pay for any data center. You don't have to construct it. You don't have to buy all the hardware. You don't have to buy the operational personnel. And because of its a high upfront cost, the project would typically require several rounds of approval before even you start the project. Whereas in case of cloud computing, you just pay for hourly use. After you are done, you will not pay a single penny. So let's say if you are using like 300 CPUs for 1 hour, you will just get charged for that much amount of time and not anything else. That, in my opinion, is the biggest benefit of using this cloud computing. Just in time infrastructure. If your application become popular and your systems are not able to scale because and that would be an issue of your own, so that means you have to invest it heavily but did not get popular, then you become a victim of a failure. By deploying application in the cloud just in time self-provisioning, you do not have to worry about pre-procuring capacity for large system. You grow as you have more load. So let's just log in into AWS right now and just see some of the benefit. So open up your website and I'm just going to show you the different options with AWS that makes its scalability much easier. Just sign into the console, click sign in into the server. Let's just log in. Go to all services. Just for example, if you only click on EC2, right? Or let's say if you want to spin up a load balancer, just click over here and then on this side, you will see a different options like load balancer or target group and auto scaling group. So just click over here for the auto scaling group and just create a new auto scaling group right now. So create a launch configuration, define a template that uses a auto scale group and create the auto scaling group. So just click on launch configuration, right? Let's say if you are going to use Microsoft Windows Server 2016. So just click over there and just select a basic T2 micro. Click next. The name is, just name it as a server. Just name it as this. IAM role. For now, just keep it without that. Enable the CloudWatch monitoring. That's fine. Just keep it without that. Go to the advanced detail. That's totally fine. Just click on to add storage. You can keep this as it is as well. Click on security group. Now here is the most important part. You will spin up, put a proper security group name, right, based on the Autoscale. Click review and you will see all this detail, storage, security, and this is the way you can launch a auto security, a scalable group. You do have an option to use a load balancing, right? So that's something you can utilize it as well. This is one more option that you can utilize for load balancing. If you go onto this side, you should see the load balancer and the target group. So if you just click on load balancer, you should see this as well. So these are the various things that you can utilize it, right? Just in time infrastructure. More efficient resource utilization. That means system administrator usually do not worry about procuring hardware. With the cloud, they can easily manage more efficiently and efficiently by having application request and relinquish resources on demand. So you will have a console that is available over here with you. Let's say if I realize that in my project there is a need to spin up an infrastructure with the Ubuntu server. Right now I just got that requirements. I'm gonna click over here, select the T2 micro, click next, select number of instances. I can also tie this with the auto scaling group. So that means based on the load on the server, it will start performing auto scale. You can enable the CloudWatch monitoring as well. You can create a new VPC or you can assign your instance into that particular VPC. You can also select a particular subnet and then you can just click add storage and click add tags and just click configure settings. You just keep all these options default. I'm just trying to show you how easy it is for you to spin up the infrastructure in the cloud and click review and launch. Scroll down and you can just launch this. Just create a new key pair. Just click download this and click launch instance. So now you are just waiting. Just go to the EC2 and keep waiting until your instance is ready. So this way you are spinning up the infrastructure on demand. You don't have to worry about that, hey, this is not going to work or this is not going to work. So just go ahead and take a look at this, right? As you can see it, your infrastructure is running right now. So let's just wait until this instance is ready. This was completely the on demand, right? You don't have to wait at all to get this thing done. Let it initialize, provision the instance for you and let it get started. Just wait until this design is complete and then I will show you a couple of other things. Just wait, as you can see the status, it's still initializing. So you just have to wait until it's done. So we are just waiting for this to become successful and then we're gonna jump start on the next thing. So my point is with this in with the AWS architecture, if you have ever a need to spin up the infrastructure that's on demand completely, then you can definitely just go ahead and use it this way, right? Because it's completely on demand for you. You are not doing anything else. You are just waiting until this is complete and it's gonna be into a virtualized world, right? So what that will do for you, you are just renting a space into the infrastructure. That's all you are doing right now. So just wait until this is done. So this instance is ready. Now let's say if I realize that I don't want this instance right now, or if I realize that I want to upgrade some memory or some settings for this instance. So what I can do is just go to instance and then you can launch as many instances as you want similar to this way. That's one thing. At the same time, you are also allowed to perform a reboot. right? For this instance right from here, that's also possible. At the same time, if you want to perform, if you want to change any settings, get the system log, change the termination data, view or change the user data, attach to the auto scaling group, so you can perform all these options right from this menu itself. Or you do have an option to just perform it right from the UI too. You don't have to wait for anything else, right? So let's say if I decide that I don't want this instance, I can terminate. I want to reboot this. So you just issue a reboot command and click yes. You can monitor the status, how it's rebooting right now. So go ahead and reboot this instance and you can see the alarm state and everything. So your system is gonna start rebooting as well. At the same time, you can also just monitor all the logs and everything for these systems. If you just right click, go to this instance setting and just click on get system logs, it's gonna show you the log as well that your system has started to restarting. There you go. So it's restarting the system right now. So just wait until the restarting is complete. Okay, so let's just wait until you will see the upgrade as well. Just go ahead and refresh this one, and that's gonna show the updated ones as well. So now you can see how it's updating. Okay. Now, more efficient resource utilization, usage-based costing. So let me show you why it is beneficial to go with this, right? AWS pricing. So if you just go to this pricing calculator, this shows you the estimated price for your AWS resources. You can see the on-demand prices as well as you can see the spot prices as well. So if you just do the on-demand prices, you can see all the prices are in per hour. So depending upon your usage, you will get charged. As you can see it, all your resources are you are getting charged for all the resources on a per hour basis only, right? And that's the benefit of using the cloud computing as well. That's one of the biggest advantage that's out there. Reduce time to market. Parallelization is the one of the great way to speed up. If one computer is intensive, all data intensive jobs that can run in parallel with the cloud architecture, it would possible to spawn and launch 500 instances and process one job within the same amount of time. Now let's just see like how we can just go ahead and first terminate this instance. So just go ahead and click terminate, click yes, so the instance is terminated. Now if you go to the EC2 dashboard, or just go to the EMR. This is mostly for the big data jobs. That's what you are going to use for Elastic Map Reducer. So whenever you create a cluster, for example, this is your sample cluster that you are creating. Cluster name is my cluster. All these things M3X large number of this. You can choose this Linux instance as well. You can provide number of instances as 500. So whatever job it takes for one instance, it takes you 10 minutes, then you can just say 500, then you can finish the job quickly. So you will have 499 core nodes. Please do not try to spin up this type of infrastructure in the trial account, right? Else it's gonna be too expensive. Go ahead and create, you do have an option right now to create this as well. So if you create this cluster, right, you can resize it right away with this without worrying about anything. It will just resize it for you. I'm just going to terminate it for now. Let's just go to the cluster list, create a cluster, right? And just pick up something like a T2, some maybe the RX or any other instance type. But just pick only 2 or 3 nodes, and it does allow us to easily update it as many nodes as we want. So that means you are not bound with the amount of resources that you can utilize. That used to be one of the biggest problem in the cloud computing, because you are always limited with number of instances only, right? And that's what makes a big difficulty. Yeah. Now, what are the technical benefit? Automation, scriptable infrastructure. So you can repeatedly build and deploy the system by using a API driven. So what you can do is Amazon does provide Amazon CLI, right? So you can use the Amazon CLI, then the cloud formation template. So you can spin up your entire infrastructure just by using this cloud formation template. So it is your cloud formation that will perform all the things for you. Just click on design template and you will see all the templates that are available right now. So just let's say I want to spin up a EC2 instance. You can also use the existing template. So what you should be able to do is just search for this action, create a stake. Just click on create new stake. Design templates, use a select sample template. So you can just select a Windows Active Directory or any other template that you want to WordPress block. Okay, just click on next. Stack name is sample. You are going to specify the database password over here, because this WordPress does require the database password thing. So you are not just spinning up only the infrastructure, but all the components required to host the WordPress website. Just click on next, and there you go. These are all the things that you are creating right now. So go ahead and try to do it right now. It will allow you to perform all this. It will allow you to create database and everything, as well as instances. So go ahead and try this. You can also click on create. So it will go ahead and create the infrastructure. So my point is, you are allowed to utilize this infrastructure as a code concept over here as well. So go ahead and try to create a sample template, or you can design your own template, or you can also utilize the existing one as well. You just have to scroll down and click on create, so it will spin up this entire infrastructure for you. So go ahead and try to do it. So by this way, we are just talking about how we are going to save in the infrastructure, at the same time how we will make things better so that we have amount of resources that's available, that's crazy amount of resources. Okay. Now let's just jump on to the next benefit. Automation, auto scaling, I already covered it, right? Disaster recovery and business continuity. So the problem with our normal storage is if it goes down, there is no way you can recover it. With the cloud, you can take the advantage of the geo distribution and replicate the environment in other location within a minute. Overflow the traffic in the cloud with the few click. You can perform effective load balancing as well. So that's another benefit of using cloud computing, disaster and recovery. So let's just spin up a EFS or S3 storage, right? We are going to create a S3 storage and write the data in a different geographical location. So if you just notice, these are the two buckets that you have available. If you just go to the management, right, you do have a option to add a life cycle to your rule. Now let's just create a new bucket. So create a bucket, sample e-learning bucket, and you can just click on properties. You can create a versioning, right? You can create a logging. You can create a tags as well. So that means with all these things, you will have a versioning enable over here. You just click next. There you go. So you have a versioning that's enabled. So your data is always secure enough. So there you go. That's your bucket that's created. Now, if you want this thing to be returned and like some other places as well, you can also just create a cross region replication. That means your data would be replicated into more than one location. So that way as well, you can save so much money. So your data is always protected and you are just simply saving the copy of your data as well. So that's one more way to change this life cycle rules policy on all the objects. Okay, so that's one of the best practices, that disaster recovery and continuity. So in case of disaster as well, you are still continuing your operation. Now let's just understand one by one component of the Amazon architecture or Amazon infrastructure. Understanding the Amazon Web Services Cloud, we are already familiar with the Elastic Compute Cloud. It is just a web service that provides a resizable compute capacity in the cloud. So you can pick up the AMI and then you can just click on launch instance. That will create a computer in the cloud using the web services. Okay. Let's look at the other architecture benefit, this architecture slide in the next class. Thank you all for watching this video.